The film which you are about to see is the account of the horrifying attack which befell a woman in India. Originally from Azamgarh in Uttar Pradesh, India, 20-year-old Khatija was a farmer who normally woke up every morning, did all her chores, and went out for the day to go to work. Living in northern India though, most days she had to deal with either the monsoon season or the many diverse animals that inhabits where she lives, like tigers, leopards, bears, golden jackals, porcupines, and the animals of our video, the Indian macaque small monkey, which when agitated can turn quite aggressive. In fact, there are well over 1,000 cases of monkey bites being reported in cities across India daily, though only 13 deaths in total since 2015. Which now brings us back to our story. One morning in September of 2022, Khatija was doing her normal chores and was getting ready for the day. When she was done, she got dressed and walked out the door to run some errands. And at first, everything seemed okay as she walked down her sidewalk to her vehicle, though suddenly, almost as if there was a sudden sharp change in the wind, she started hearing an odd noise off into the distance. Not thinking too much about it though, she kept walking, got in her car and drove off to the store to get some supplies for the day. As she returned home though, the strange feeling and weird sound off in the distance was still present, and knowing that she still had work to do around the house though, she put it in the back of her mind and finished walking back inside her house. Then a little later, she came back outside of the house to do a little work on the roof before the next rain came. And at first, as she was climbing up, the surrounding area was quiet and calm, almost to the point that she could hear every footstep that she made going towards the roof. By the time that she made it up to the top though, the overwhelming feeling and odd screaming sounds that she heard from earlier all came rushing back to her ears almost like a bullet train. Only this time, the weird feeling was more like a fist pressing down on the bottom of her stomach, as she simultaneously started getting goosebumps covering her arms from wrist to shoulder. Then as she looked up and over, it was almost like her worst nightmare was coming true right before her very eyes. It was a wild and aggravated pack of macaque monkeys, and they were heading straight for her. And worse yet, they were already only a few feet away from her, so she had zero places to run. And in the matter of only a few seconds, the angry primates were already upon the roof and slowly inching their way towards the terrified and trembling Khatija, who at this time was also starting to inch her way towards the edge of the roof. But with nowhere else to go, she held her breath and hoped for the best. Then as each second ticked away, the already agitated primates were only growing more and more mad, and instead of going their own way to cause more havoc down the road, they concentrated their menacing stares at Khatija and slowly began making their way towards her. And in the matter of only a few seconds, they began running at her full speed and almost immediately overran her. Then horrifically started biting her uncontrollably, but luckily she was able to escape shortly after. Unfortunately though, there was nowhere to run, and without noticing, she tripped and fell a miserable 22 feet to the ground. But horrifically, it wasn't the floor that was waiting for her. It was a bar-lined boundary wall, and worse yet, she landed directly on it, piercing her stomach and back in the most horrendous way possible, and making her lose consciousness from the shock in less than a few minutes. It then wouldn't be for another full hour until she was actually discovered by her family, who were then able to get her down, though in doing so they had to cut into the steel beam that was still impaling her, and unfortunately because of this, the other half of the rod remained in her body. Her family then rushed her to the nearest hospital before it was too late, though luckily she had not lost too much blood yet, so she was still fighting for her life. Then when they were finally able to get her there, surgeons were forced to conduct emergency surgery on Khatija, where luckily they were able to remove the ghoulish piece of steel from her abdomen, and she was able to make a full recovery. Officials then went on to say that altercations with angry monkeys is becoming more and more common as the monkey's natural habitat is continuously getting pushed back for human development. They then went on to say that this wasn't even the most serious incident of 2022, as apparently earlier in July in Birli, India, a troop of wild monkeys stole a baby from a father and tossed the boy from a third-story building, killing him instantly. So unfortunately, these most likely won't be the only stories to come out of India when it comes to horrific monkey attacks. With that being said though, thank you once again for joining me. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more content in the future. Goodbye for now.